Hi, this is Ross with QUBEdocs, and today I'd like to talk to you about benefits of QUBEdocs for TM1 end users. If you've ever looked in the Server Explorer, you know that the views available are fairly limited. You can see the cubes and you can see the dimensions underneath them, but beyond that, there's not a great way to really understand all of the complex relationships present within a TM1 model. And this is where QUBEdocs comes into play. With QUBEdocs, you get automatically generated documentation and visualizations of your TM1 model from all levels top to bottom. So you can see here a top-down view of all of the cubes and the relationships between them, and you can navigate through those visually just by clicking on any one of these objects. And you'll get lists of details about the object that you're focused on, as well as a number of different views to navigate through. So we can see if you're interested in how information is coming in via this database. You can click on the process and get more information about that process as well. So you can navigate through, follow the arrows, and really start to get a sense of all of the different relationships present in your TM1 models. You can also help with knowledge transfer by using the list of objects, and we have object lists for cubes, dimensions, processes, and chores. And for each of them, you can see we have a description field here. And what that allows you to do is add a plain language, simple description of what the object does, what it's for, and why it exists. And that can really help, especially when you're bringing in new people onto the team, to try to understand all of the different pieces of the model and how they fit together. That also flows into our knowledge base and our business glossary, where if you've ever wanted just a single page view of all of your objects and what they're for, that's exactly what our business glossary provides here. Each of the objects that you've given a description for will show up here, and you can use that as sort of a study guide for anybody who wants to come in and start to understand each piece of the different model. Finally, we also have tagging, which is another way to add another layer of information onto your model without having to go in and change the code of the model itself. And you can use this to create advanced filters and search criteria, and you can get creative and use it in any number of ways. You can create these tags in just a couple of clicks. So for example, if you're working through some changes on a different object and you want your manager to review them, you can create a tag, something like to review. And say we want to apply this to all of our different object types. We can go ahead and you can see we've created that tag there. And so now if we're working through different objects, we can see we can just go ahead and add a tag value here. So if we want myself to come in and review different objects, we can add that tag value right in there. And then you can combine that with our search feature. So now if I've been tagged with objects to review, I can just type my name into the search bar here, and I can see cubes, I can see dimensions, and anywhere that I've been tagged with that value. And finally, in terms of making changes to your model, if you want to understand all of the different relationships, one thing that you can do is put the name of a cube, a dimension, anything like that, right into our search bar. And what you're going to see is all of the different locations that you might not have considered initially as far as relationships to that cube, to that dimension, etc. So you'll see cubes, you'll see different lines within the cube rules will show up here, dimensions, subsets, attributes, etc. So the search feature in QUBEdocs will really help if you're trying to understand your model. Make sure that you're finding all of the little pieces of the model that relate to an object that you might not have considered.